What's up guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today is going to be all about the combat shotgun. If you remember the last video, we talked about all the crazy nerfs that the shotgun's got, and in the fine print, one little section, there was a spot about the combat shotgun and how it received some buffs in some areas, like the sawed-off barrel now does more damage, it gives you more movement speed, the precision barrel's a little bit better. So we're going to go over what the new best class is for the combat shotgun, which is probably one of the best pump actions now in Warzone. We're also going to go over my favorite part of the video, which is the only shotgun class in Warzone currently at 300 health that can one-shot players with headshots. That's right, even at 300 health, you can still one-shot people with this shotgun, and I'll show you the setup for that and the best way to run it in the later half of this video. So stick around if you're all about the combat shotgun, let me know down below, and without further ado, let's just get right into it. I also want to give a quick little shout out to a subscriber of mine known as Evan. He was the one who let me know in last video that the combat shotgun with slugs is still really good, so I went and checked it out. So shout out to you, man. Sorry I'm not keeping it under wraps, but you know the drill, man. Let's just get into it. So first, like I said, let's go over the sort of the base combat shotgun, the more traditional shotgun build we're going to look at. So first off, the base combat shotgun, no barrels, no ammo types or anything, can two-shot at 300 health at around 5.6 meters, which is putting it on top of the other two shotguns with base ammo that's not including Dragon's Breath. So that's really good, but I'm going to go ahead and let you guys know what the way to go is for this particular shotgun. You basically want to avoid all of the barrels except the sawed-off barrel. After this update and the buff it got to the sawed-off barrel, all the other barrels just kind of became obsolete, and the sawed-off really is the way to go. Now, despite some places and people saying that it does hurt your range, I can confirm through hand testing that it does in fact give you more range, and the sawed-off barrel is actually the barrel that gives you the best range overall out of all of these different barrels, even over the short barrel, even over the big barrel. And if you remember last patch, the sawed-off barrel did get a little bit of a buff, so it now deals 20% more damage as opposed to 15, so that is nice. And even though it says it hurts your damage range, don't worry about it. It doesn't actually hurt it at all. From what I can tell, it seems to be the best barrel overall. So again, just like before the update, don't worry about it. You're going to get better range with this barrel than all the other barrels in class. Now, the precision barrel did seem to get a little bit of a buff as well, but it's still really not that good. The greatest thing about it is the accuracy for slugs, but since you can't one-shot headshot even with the precision barrel on, and the body shot damage is way weaker, I just don't think it's a good barrel at all. The big barrel, you know, the really big one, I forget what size it is, but it's one of the Framble barrels, I think. It doesn't really give you much more range at all either. It's just not worth it, and you lose a bunch of movement speed. So really, avoid all these barrels except for the sawed-off. That really is the way to go. Now, if you stack 12 gauge with the sawed-off barrel, you do end up getting a two-shot kill of about 8 meters, and that is 8 meters flat just about, give or take a tenth of a meter or so, but it was about 8 meters for me. Now, we do have other ammo types you can use, like Buck and Slug and Incendiary. For Incendiary, if you fight someone who doesn't have EOD equipped, your two-shot range is actually pretty nice at about 8.5 meters, and then of course at that range you have to wait for the burn to kick in, so it's really nice. But unfortunately, if you face someone with EOD, you're really not getting more than about 7 meters. That's a big difference, and really the inconsistency that EOD can add is pretty bad, so I don't recommend it, because even though there's other perks that people are running in perk 1 now, or tier 1 of the perks, someone might have EOD and it's going to completely throw off your game, so I don't really recommend it just because it's kind of inconsistent in that regard. Buck and Slug is another great attachment. I found that the two-shot kill range was at about 8.3 meters for like chest shot level, and that's pretty good, but the only downside to that is you're going to lose 4 pellets, which is kind of a big oof, and also your aim down sight speed is incredibly slow, and I like to have really snappy shotguns, so I don't really recommend that. If you're really going for max range, sure, go for it, but to me, I would rather just run the base shotgun and focus on having a quicker aim down sight speed. Also, we do have pack powder and reduced powder. Pack powder, do not use it. It doesn't seem to give you any more range. In fact, it seemed to hurt my range by about a tenth of a meter or so. I wasn't really getting any more further distance two shots, so I would say avoid it. But reduced powder, just like I mentioned before this update, it does actually give you about the same range as if you didn't have reduced powder equipped, but you do get a little bit of a faster fire rate. So honestly, reduced powder is not a bad option at all, and I've been using it since you get a little bit better of a fire rate. It's not amazing, but hey, I mean, you might as well if you're not going to use anything else, right? So now we've gone over some some of the basic stats, what is the best class to run for this gun now, for the base shotgun experience? Well, I say run the full choke, the sawed-off barrel, and 12 gauge. Those are really good ways to start. It's going to give you that best 2-shot kill range. Then use the CGC 2M wire stock. That's for better movement speed and sprint to fire speed. Then you can use the fabric grip and the SMLE pistol grip. All of those work with sprint to fire speed. You really need that sprint to fire boost on this gun because it's got a really slow one. Then for perks, you can use Vital. It's going to give you a little bit more chest shot damage. It's not going to change your time to kills or anything like that, but it is nice to have since the other perks aren't really worth it. For perk 2, I use On Hand because if you didn't know, that gives you a little bit more of an aim down sights boost, but you can also use Quick if you want a faster sprint speed. Also, you can use Reduced Powder. Like I said, you're going to get a little bit of a faster fire rate and you don't lose any range. Pack Powder is going to hurt your range just a tiny bit, so really it's not worth it. Of course, you could use Buck and Slug. That's the next best option, but this is sort of the overall standard shotgun that I would say to gravitate towards. And now for what everyone has been wondering about, and that is the Slug version of this gun. Now, the only way to get one-shot headshots with this gun at 300 health is if you equip that sawed-off barrel. The moment you equip it and you don't need any other attachments, your headshots will deal 300 health, which means a one-shot kill. Now, of course, body shots unfortunately are going to take 3 shots to kill. So if you're up close and you don't hit that headshot, it's really not going to be that great. You have to hit the headshots. If you hit a body shot, like I said, it's going to take 3. So that is just not good. You're better off having a secondary to switch to or something. But if you can hit that headshot, man, it is so satisfying. Now, what is the range for this? Well, with the sawed-off barrel in 12 gauge, which is the ammo type I recommend, you get about a 17-meter one-shot headshot range, which is pretty nice. That's actually really good. The only problem with this build is it really hurts your aim down sights time using slugs, so you have to kid around using a good sprint to fire speed and also an aim down sight speed, so your build might change a little bit, but honestly it's still really fun and it is a really difficult setup to run well. If you're a good player and you can hit those shots, it's going to be amazing. It's going to feel really good, but if you can't manage to hit those headshots, this is going to be absolutely miserable to use, and it is really hard to use up close because it's so hard to hit that headshot and everyone's jumping around. But if you're around like 10 meters or past that, you're usually at a good spot. So it's sort of a medium range. I don't know if you can call it medium, that's still pretty short, 10 meters, but medium range for a shotgun, right? If you're at that kind of distance, it's a little bit easier to use in my opinion. Now, it is going to hurt your accuracy with the sawed-off barrel, so the choke is really going to help offset that. And even though it isn't a super long distance build, you may want to have one attachment to kind of help offset that minus accuracy that you get from it. Now, what is the recommended build for this gun? Well, for me personally, I like to kit it out for accuracy and aim down sight speed with a little bit of that sprint to fire speed mixed in. So of course, use the full choke. You don't need to use the compensator or whatever it is to give you accuracy. This is going to do a lot better of a job, the full choke is. Then use the sawed-off barrel again for that max damage for headshots. The CGC adjustable stock because it's going to give you sprint to fire speed as well as aim down sight speed. The fabric grip for aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed. The hand stop is going to give us a little bit more accuracy, which is nice for those longer distance shots. Of course, 12 gauge is what I recommend since the other magazine types, well, the 3-round is really small, of course, but the other ones, they hurt your aim down sight speed and your movement speed, and since slugs hurt them already so much, I don't recommend it. Then, of course, slug rounds. For the perks, I choose Vital because it's probably the best one of the bunch. Even though it doesn't really change your shots to kill, it is nice having a little bit more damage. And then, of course, perk 2, I choose On Hand because I like having a faster aim down sight speed over a faster sprint speed with this particular setup. And that, my friends, is going to do it for this particular video. The slug build is really fun, but it is pretty difficult to use well, especially if people are really aggressive against you. It can make it really difficult because if they're in your face, it's really hard to hit that headshot, and slugs are not very accurate when you hit fire them. So this is a high skill, high reward build, and it's the only slug shotgun in the game that can one-shot headshot, and the only shotgun build in this game that can one-shot kill people without stopping power or anything like that. So let me know what you guys think of both of these builds. Do you think that the combat shotgun is now the best shotgun overall? Do you think it's the best pump action? Do you think the other shotguns are still garbo? And with all that being said, guys, I will see you in the next video.